I watched through the departure glass as my wife, Sandra, was dragged away by airport security. She was screaming my name, her wig falling off, her hands in the air. I turned my phone to airplane mode and buckled my seatbelt. I am not a victim. I am not asking for your pity. In the heart of the city, where tall buildings fight the sky and the sound of generators never sleeps, lived a man called Kelvin. Kelvin was not rich by noise. He did not talk too much. He did not fight in public. He did not insult people when angry. In Hausa land, elders say, "Ruwa mai zafi baya omo." Deep water makes no noise. Kelvin was deep water. Every morning before the sun rose fully, Kelvin woke up. He washed his face. He prayed quietly. He wore clean clothes. He left his flat before the traffic became madness. He worked in an office made of glass and steel, where computers hum like bees trapped in a bottle. People in the office called him Mr. Calm. They did not know what calm can hide. Kelvin was married to Sandra. Sandra was beautiful in a loud way. She liked shiny things. She liked pictures. She liked people seeing her. She liked to talk about traveling abroad, especially when neighbors were listening. UK, she would say, stretching the word like chewing gum. London is calling me. Kelvin would smile and nod. They lived in a rented flat owned by a landlord named Alhaji Musa. Alhaji Musa was short and round. His stomach came before him. He complained about everything. If light went, he complained. If water ran, he complained. If rain fell, he complained. But Alhaji Musa always smiled at Sandra. Too much. Kelvin noticed. He said nothing. Sandra had twins, two small boys with big eyes. The whole compound celebrated when they were born. Drums. Food. Laughter. Even Alhaji Musa slaughtered a goat. Kelvin carried the babies and smiled for pictures. Inside him, something slept. Years passed. Kelvin paid school fees. Kelvin paid hospital bills. Kelvin paid rent. Kelvin paid silence. Sandra's boutique grew and then struggled. Kelvin helped. When she wanted to go back to school for her master's degree, Kelvin sold his car. Education is light, he said. Sandra smiled and hugged him. In Hausa land, elders say, "Idon zusiya toriga totofi, jiki kowori kunan." When the heart has left, only the body remains. Kelvin did not know her heart had already gone. Truth does not knock loudly. It enters quietly and sits down. One afternoon, Kelvin received a call from a hospital. The twins needed a routine medical test for school records. Kelvin went alone. He signed papers. He waited. The doctor came back with a serious face. "Sir," the doctor said, "we need to talk." Kelvin listened. Words entered his ears like cold rain. 0%. No biological connection. Not the father. Kelvin nodded. The doctor waited for shouting. It did not come. The doctor waited for tears. They did not come. Kelvin thanked him politely. Outside the hospital, cars passed. People laughed. Hawkers shouted. Life continued like nothing happened. Kelvin sat in his car and closed his eyes. In his mind, an old voice spoke, the voice of his late grandfather. When a goat is led quietly, it is not always to slaughter. Sometimes, it is to learn the road. Kelvin went home. Sandra was watching her phone. The twins were playing. Kelvin greeted everyone. He ate food. He washed his hands. He slept. That night, he dreamed. He saw himself standing on a bridge made of ice. On one side was fire. On the other side was water. A voice said, "Choose carefully. One burns fast. One cools slowly." Kelvin woke up sweating. From that night, Kelvin changed, but only inside. Kelvin did not confront Sandra. He did not shout. He did not ask questions. He did not accuse. He watched. Sandra became more restless. She talked about leaving Nigeria every day. This country is wicked, she said. No future here. I must drop her. Kelvin listened. In Hausa land, patience is not weakness. It is a weapon wrapped in cloth. Kelvin began to plan, not with anger, but with clarity. He checked documents. He studied systems. He remembered every smile Sandra gave him when others were watching. And he noticed something else. Whenever Alhaji Musa came around, Sandra adjusted herself. Whenever Kelvin was away, Alhaji Musa stayed longer. Still, Kelvin said nothing. An elder once told him, "If you want to catch a snake, don't jump. Watch where it enters." Kelvin waited. One evening, as rain tapped the windows and darkness covered the city, Kelvin spoke. "Sandra," he said calmly, "I got good news." Her eyes lit up. "The company abroad," Kelvin continued. "They want me." "London." Sandra screamed. She danced. She called her friends. She called her mother. She laughed so loud the neighbors heard. Kelvin smiled. Inside him, the bridge of ice grew thicker. The city did not sleep that night. Generators growled like tired lions. Cars hissed on wet roads. Neon signs blinked and blinked again. In their flat, Sandra packed hope into boxes and folded tomorrow into suitcases. "London," she whispered to her clothes. "London." Kelvin sat on the edge of the bed and watched her move. He watched how her hands shook, not with fear, but with hunger. He watched how she smiled at her phone, typing messages to people who had never helped her carry a burden. In Hausa land, elders say, "Idon buri ye yowa, hankoli no ragowa." When desire grows too big, wisdom becomes small. Kelvin spoke gently. "There is a condition." Sandra stopped. "What condition?" "Don't worry, baby. Anything." Kelvin explained slowly, carefully, like a teacher drawing letters for a child. "The company needs proof that we are cutting ties here. They want to see funds. Clean. Simple. Everything in one account." Sandra nodded before he finished. "Yes. Yes. Of course. That makes sense." She did not ask questions. She did not read lines. She did not listen with both ears. Hope had already taken her by the hand. Selling yesterday for tomorrow. First was the boutique. Sandra cried as they locked the door for the last time. Not from pain, but from pride. People gathered. Phones came out. She paused. "New chapter," she said. "Bigger market." Kelvin signed papers quietly. Then came the land. A small piece of earth her late father had left her. In Hausa culture, land is memory. Land is voice. Land does not forget footsteps. An old uncle warned her. "Girl, land is not like cloth." Sandra laughed. "Uncle, you don't understand. Abroad is better." Kelvin kept his eyes down. Jewelry followed. Gold that had seen weddings. Necklaces that had known laughter. Rings that had heard promises. Everything turned into numbers. The money entered Kelvin's account like a river entering a hidden cave. Sandra trusted him. Why wouldn't she? He had always carried the weight. In Hausa land, elders say, "Amina da ake biye ko, ke o tozoma wuta, correct." Trust given to you must be held, even if it burns. Kelvin held it. Signs that were ignored. The night before the journey, Sandra dreamed. She saw herself running toward a plane made of paper. Each step toward the ground beneath her feet. She woke up afraid. She told Kelvin. He listened. "Dreams are just dreams," she said quickly, brushing fear away like dust. Kelvin said nothing. In his own sleep, Kelvin saw his grandfather again. The old man sat under a neem tree. "The river does not shout when it floods," the old man said. It simply takes what is loose. Kelvin woke up calm. The airport morning. Morning arrived wearing fog. At the airport, lights were too bright. Voices too sharp. Sandra walked like a queen. She wore dark glasses. Her head was high. Today, she said, we leave suffering behind. Kelvin smiled. They stood in line. The smell of coffee. The sound of wheels rolling. Announcements echoing like distant drums. Kelvin leaned close. I need the restroom. Stay here. She nodded, fixing her scarf. Be quick. Kelvin walked away. He did not run. He did not look back. He took another path, one he had memorized quietly. From a distance, he watched. He watched papers change hands. He watched brows tighten. He watched questions fall like stones. Sandra's voice rose. My husband has the originals. Security arrived. In Hausa land, elders say. Lokosin gaskiya yazo, karya tana gajiza. When truth arrives, lies tremble. Sandra trembled. Kelvin's phone vibrated. He sent one message. Simple. Clean. Then he turned his phone off. As his plane moved, Kelvin felt no joy. Only lightness. Not victory. Not laughter. Release. Some bridges must burn so rivers can flow. The airport did not pause for Sandra's pain. People passed her like wind. Wheels rolled. Announcements continued. A baby cried somewhere, hungry and unaware that a grown woman's world had just cracked open. Sandra stood between two uniformed officers. Her dark glasses had slipped. Her wig leaned to one side like a crown that no longer fit. Please, she said, her voice thin. My husband is here. He has the real papers. The officers looked at each other. They had seen this before. In Hausa land, elders say. Dunayamo Koranta si. The world is a classroom. Today, Sandra was learning. They led her away gently, but firmly. Not like a criminal. Like someone who had lost direction. She looked around. Kelvin was not there. She shouted his name once. Then again. No answer came. Only echoes. The phone that spoke last. Sandra's phone vibrated. One message. She read it. Her hands went cold. She read it again. The words did not shout. They did not insult. They sat quietly, heavy like stones at the bottom of a river. Her knees failed her. She fell. At that moment, something left her, not her breath, not her voice, but her pride. In Hausa land, elders say. Mutansi yefai dukiya. Dignity is greater than wealth. Her dignity lay broken on a cold airport floor. The man who left quietly. Kelvin's plane rose into the sky. Below him, the city became small. Roads turned into lines. Houses into dots. He closed his eyes. For the first time in years, his chest did not feel tight. But freedom did not come with laughter. It came with silence. In that silence, Kelvin remembered the twins. Their laughter. Their small hands holding his fingers. His heart shook once. Then steadied. An elder's voice rose inside him. Bodok obinda aka rosa eknimebie. Not everything that is lost should be searched for. Kelvin did not cry. Tears are not the only language of pain. When news travels. By evening, the story had grown legs. In the compound, neighbors whispered. At Alhaji Musa's shop, tongues moved faster than hands. Did you hear? She was arrested. Fake papers. The husband disappeared. Alhaji Musa sat quietly. For the first time, his mouth did not complain. When police came to ask questions, his face lost color. When they asked about the twins, his voice broke. In Hausa land, elders say. Idon koroto manta, my kalo by manta bie. If the hyena forgets, The witness does not. Truth does not hurry. But it always arrives. The children and the question. That night, the twins asked for their father. Sandra could not answer. She held them close, but her arms felt empty. For the first time, she looked at them and saw not comfort, but consequence. She thought of every smile she gave carelessly. Every secret kept. Every warning ignored. She understood too late. The man in the mirror. In his new city, Kelvin stood before a mirror. He looked older. Stripped of illusion. He spoke to his reflection. I chose patience, he said. I chose silence. The mirror did not answer. But deep inside, he felt the presence of those who came before him. Not praising. Not condemning. Watching. In Hausa land, ancestors do not clap for revenge. They watch for balance. To be continued? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps this story continue.